just like to say a short personal word of thank you. But first I'll just share a little bit why I got interested in this meeting between this sociologist and the Pope. So personally, I'm a member of the community of Sant'Egidio, which is an international Catholic community which serves the poor and which also works through dialogue for peace in war situations. And this community every year organizes a prayer for peace. Now, during the prayer for peace, where many religions meet to pray together for peace, during one of these prayer for peace meetings, there was this encounter between the sociologist Zygmunt Bauman and Pope Francis. So I was there for the prayer for peace. I saw this event where the sociologist, who was not religious, and the Pope met one another. And afterwards in the community, after this prayer for peace meeting, we reflected in the community about what this means, this encounter between this non-religious sociologist and this Pope, who got together in such a resonance. And while we were reflecting, I started to realize there's a story here to be told. Because I saw many people who are reading the sociologist Bauman, but they didn't know about his connection with Pope Francis. And at the same time, I saw people who are studying Pope Francis, but they didn't know about his connection with this non-religious sociologist. So I saw this meeting, was like, wait a second, there's a story here that I think needs to be told. And so that's how I began working on this. Now, I must also say that now we are talking about this book which is published, it's very nice. But if I'm honest, when I was working on this, when I was studying this and writing this, I also had to ask myself some very honest questions. Because as a student, you maybe know, you study all kinds of things like individualism and society and consumerism and so forth. Well, while I was studying this story about individualism and this more hasty life that Bauman talks about, I thought that the others were individuals. But while I was studying this and asking some questions to myself, I found this story is much more about myself than I thought. I found that I'm much more of a child of this very hasty kind of society than I thought. When I looked honestly at myself, I started to see that it was much more of this haste in my own life than I knew before, and much more of this very quick experiences through social media, short meetings with people, but as you're so hasty, nothing really remains, there's no real solidarity, difficult to make long-term friendships, right? So I started to see, while I was studying this, academic study, that actually it was much more about myself than I thought. And then, so Bauman talks about the hasty life, and then Pope Francis starts listening to Bauman and starts saying, well, what we need is concreteness. When this liquid life, which is so hasty and so fragmented, what do we do with this? What do we do in this situation? We need more concreteness, we need more friendships with one another, but also we need contact with the poor. And that's what Pope Francis is saying. We need to be with the poor, not just to help them, as like we are the good people and we're doing something for the poor who are the others. No, being together with the poor is what we need ourselves. And that's what the concreteness that Pope Francis talks about. We need the concreteness of being with the homeless, of being with the people who are suffering the most in this hasty life because they can't keep up. When we are close to them, when we have the concreteness of friendships with the poor, and for myself, that's mostly with the homeless. When we have this concreteness, we are in touch with reality. When we don't have this concreteness, when we're not close to the poor, we lose ourselves in this hasty life. We try to live for ourselves very hastily. So while I was studying this, I found that this story is about me. I was already involved with the community of Sant'Egidio in the service to the homeless, but I started to understand more as I was studying it, that I need this. I'm not just doing that because the homeless need help. I need to spend my life close to the homeless, because that helps me to keep in touch with reality. That means also, that helps me to live a less hasty life, to live a less disconnected life. So I started to understand better why it's important for me to be close with the poor, with the homeless. So, for example, James is going to bring some of the students here from ACU to some of these projects with the poor here in the city of Rome. So I found that I really needed myself. I want to thank you. I want to thank Austin and Anna, because while I was studying Pope Francis, listening to them and reading their work on Pope Francis helped me to understand better. Austin talks about the kind of conversion, the kind of change in our lives that Pope Francis talks about. And Anna talks about the social message of Pope Francis, about the migrants, about refugees, about the homeless, about peace. So listening to them and reading their work helped me better to understand Pope Francis, and connection with James helped me to better understand also the work of Bauman. So thank you for helping me to understand. But at the same time, and I want to say it also especially to those who are studying right now, some of my friends from Gregorian, we're doing the PhD together, others are doing a bachelor degree, undergraduate degree. I also wish for you to find some things in your study that helps you to ask some questions to yourself, to learn that some of the things we're studying in philosophy or in social sciences are not about the others, when we're honest, they're really about ourselves. Some of you might be religious, might not be religious, but I hope also that you find this concreteness that Pope Francis talks about, which, as you said, indeed, is not just for Catholic people. Like we all need this concreteness in your life. So I wish also for you that while you're studying, you can also ask some questions, some honest questions about your own life, and that you also find this concreteness in connection with the others that helps you to be in touch with reality. So thank you very much, and I hope to continue also to work together with you to study, but also to build the kind of service to the poor here in Rome or in other cities that we ourselves really need. Thank you.